I love fishing heavy cover and punching a punch rig just like this one with this turbo craws on there up into the grass beds and letting it punch through the heaviest cover you can find and triggering those bass in to eat it. There's really, it's not much more of a fist fight in bass fishing. You can't find one better than punching in shallow water. And you know, you flip that bait into the heavy hydrilla or hyacinth down in Florida and into that matted grass, let that bait bust through the cover and just hang on tight. Now, you're fishing, you know, some of the heaviest cover you can possibly find, so you gotta have the right rod, reel, and line. This is, you know, it's an essential thing with any bait, you know, and technique to have the right rod, reel, and line. But with a punching bait, you really gotta have this dialed in or you're gonna have some issues and you're gonna lose some fish. So the rod I like to choose is going to be a nice long heavy action rod like a 7'6" to a 7'9" rod. And I don't like to use an extra heavy rod. I prefer a heavy. With an extra heavy rod and braided line that you use when you're punching, you can sometimes tear a big hole in that fish's mouth. And I have a hard time, you know, slowing down my hook set and not jacking those fish when they eat it. So a heavy action rod gives me a little bit more bend, still got a big backbone and everything, but it gives me a little more bend than like an extra heavy rod would. So 7'6" to 7'9" heavy action rod, and then a good high speed gear ratio reel. I'm going to be, you know, flipping that bait into the hole. You let it punch down. Once it breaks through the mat, you jig it a few times, you pop it up, you reel it in, and you pop it right back out there. And the key is being efficient to making a punch bait work. So you want to be hitting that hole, working it, pop it out. Hit that hole, work it, pop it out. And a high-speed reel lets you pick up that line quickly in between casts. So you're going to be more efficient and put more fish in the boat. Now, I always use no less than 65-pound test braided line when I'm punching. You know, you don't want to use fluorocarbon when you're fishing super heavy grass. It's going to saw through your line and you're going to get those fish tangled up in there. And you're not going to have a chance at getting a big bass out of heavy cover with fluorocarbon line. You want the no-stretch braid. And 65-pound test is really the lightest I would go. You know, you could even beef it up to 80 if you're fishing on lakes like Okeechobee or Kissimmee. And I've actually personally caught some big bass down on those Florida lakes and all across the country punching in that heavy vegetation and horsing those fish out of there. It is a lot of fun, and it's something that if you have a lake that's got that heavy grass, you've got to try flipping and pitching and punching that bait in there with the right rod, reel, and line setup.